Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another Witch Wednesdays. First of all, I hope you don't mind that I'm wearing my dressing gown. It's really cold in my house this morning. Like, the sun's out, but it's freezing in here, so I've got my dressing gown on. A bit of a, I don't know, I would say an odd video, but I suppose it's not, but it requires a bit of an explanation. So you may have noticed it is currently October, spooky season, but it's also Witchversary. So if you don't know what that means, basically over on Tumblr, my good friend AnneLaurent runs the 30 days of Witchversary, which is essentially a 30-day challenge all around witch. Runs every October, and it's a good way of just getting the fandom together. Everyone can talk about witch and share their thoughts and their creations, you know, just really get involved as a fandom. And this year it's really cool because normally it's like questions to answer, but this year it's like a really cool idea where it's like all prompts, so you can create like fan art or fan fiction or just like write a thing or post gifs, photos, you know, that kind of thing. But normally, or at least previously, it's been like questions, you know, like those old 30-day challenges. I used to love them, and like I don't have the damn dedication to be posting something each day for 30 days. Like, the only thing I do consistently on the daily is eat. Like, everything else in my life I do not have the dedication to do on a daily basis. But I loved 30-day challenges. I used to be so into them back in, like, when were they big? Like 2012 or something. So, like, those kind of things where you just, like, answer questions for 30 days, I always enjoyed them. So last year there was a 30 days of Witchversary in October, and I was really excited to play along and, you know, join the rest of the fandom. But I never did, and it was really because if you've seen my toxic workplace video, you'll know that last year was not a great year for me. And October was really, I think, the point where it became glaringly obvious to me that I was going to lose my job eventually, and that was just incredibly miserable. I also have seasonal affective disorder, so like October's a really bad month for me. Unfortunately, it's also my birthday month, like happy birthday to me in a few weeks. But like, because it starts, it's well, at least in Scotland, October is really the point where this nights roll in really fast. It starts getting dark super early, and my brain just crashes. It can't cope with the dark all of a sudden. So October tends to be a bad month for me in general. It was particularly bad for me in 2020 because my work were being assholes, and I just never really had the mental capacity to play along with 30 days of Witchversary, and I really wanted to, but like I just didn't have the energy to put my heart and soul into doing something like that. And like, I love witch, so like I want to put my heart and soul into it. So I kept telling myself I would catch up, you know. It was like a few days in and I'm like, oh, I'm a few days behind, I'll catch up. And then the month just kept going and going, and then the next thing it was November, and it was like, well, missed that boat, didn't I? So I really want to play along with this month. I'm behind again because I was on holiday at the start of October, so I didn't have time to be playing along. So there's a good chance that you'll see my 30 days of Witchversary for this year next October. Pencil me in for October 2022. But for today on this video, I decided that I would finally live out my you know, not dream, but finally catch up with what I missed last year by making a video where I answer the 30 days of Witchversary from 2020 and finally make peace with last year and the fact that I missed it. I've scribbled down all the questions, and I haven't really put any thought into them. I wanted to just kind of riff, like, off the top of my head, see what comes into my head for each one, rather than sitting writing a script. So this could be chaotic, as it usually is when I talk without a script. Things just tend to send into madness. So that's me for the day. Everyone knows that for me, I'm either 2 hours early to something or I'm half an hour late. There is no in between, so me being a year late for the Witchversary is very much on brand. Anywho, let's get on with it, shall we? So question number 1 on the 30 days of Witchversary from 2020 was favourite element. I debate this quite a lot. I would say my favourite element is earth. And I know that people are going to be like, well, obviously because your favourite guardian is Cornelia. But actually, like, I do genuinely really like nature. Like, I am always happiest when I'm, like, in a forest or, like, a field. Like, I just really like being with, like, trees and grass and flowers. That's, you know, if I'm out at the weekend on a walk, I generally go to, like, the park so I can, like, be with the trees and stuff. I don't like the beach. I really have a real thing about the beach. I hate sand. I hate how it gets in your shoes and it gets in your eyes and and there's seaweed everywhere and it stinks, and then the water gets in your shoes because it looks like it's going to be, like, solid, and then you step on it and it's a big wet hole, and then now you've got soggy socks, and yeah. So and I don't like the air that much. I don't like being, I mean, I enjoy watching the wind, but I don't really like being in the wind, so I don't think air works. And I don't like fire. I definitely don't like fire. I watched this thing when I was a kid. It was a fire safety video, and like this person's house caught fire and she tried to put it out by like chucking water on it, and then the fire just got bigger, and then it like gave her 3rd-degree burns in her arms, and it was supposed to teach kids about the dangers of chip pan fires, and all it did was traumatize me for life, and now I'm afraid of any open flame. Like, you should see me trying to light my pumpkin every year for Halloween. Like, I have the match like stuck on the end of like a giant stick because I don't want the flame anywhere near me. So fire is definitely not my element. I like water, but I'm not very good in water. I'm not the strongest swimmer. I like to swim, but I'm not the strongest swimmer. And I don't like being wet. I don't really like the air, and I don't like being in the air. I hate flying. So I would say with all of that, the fact that I like trees and I don't seem to like anything else would say that my favourite element must be earth. And I would like to be in control of it, because then I could take care of my garden without having to go out and tend to the plants every day and water them and feed them and stuff. I could just stand there and wave my hand and all my plants would just live forever. I would love that. I could take care of my plants so much better if I had that power. Number 2, favourite non-elemental power. I've always wanted telekinesis, but I always feel like that's a really boring power. It is just generally for, like, laziness purposes. Like, I feel like there's so many more cool powers out there, you know? As soon as you say, like, I want the power to move things, it's like, you can move things with your hands. Like, you have the ability to move objects currently. But I'm like, it would make my life so much easier if I could just move things with my hands. Like, I'm really weak, and you should see me when I'm tidying and I try and lift something. There are times I almost, like, throw up from lifting one box because I'm just so weak. If I could just, like, tidy my house by just waving my hand and make all the objects fly into place. Once again, I sound so boring. It's like, I want earth so I can take care of my plants. I want telekinesis so I can tidy my house. What kind of domestic goddess bullshit is this? So, like, I've always wanted telekinesis. I think there's a lot of powers that sound cool, but I wouldn't want. Like, I wouldn't want the power to read minds. I absolutely would not want that. I think that is a really dangerous power. And I think there's a good reason why humans can't read each other's minds. Like, I think that's dangerous and we don't want it. I would quite like to fly. I know I hate flying, but if I was in control of my flying, I think that would help a lot. Because, like, the thing about being on a plane is that you're in the sky, and if the plane crashes, you can't do anything about it. At least if I was flying on my own, like, power, I would know if I was about to fall out the sky. Being able to, like, teletransportation would be really cool, because then I could just go anywhere, anytime. That would be really cool. I don't really want to go invisible. I don't really see how that would help me in life. Like, I don't really know what that would achieve. So yeah, I feel somewhere between teletransportation and telekinesis would probably be the 2 that I really want. But for really boring reasons. For, like, being able... I don't drive, so teletransportation would be really handy because, like, it would save me having to get the bus places. Once again, for the most boring reasons. I want telekinesis so I can tidy, and I want teletransportation so I don't have to ride the bus. God, I'm so tragic. Question 3. Favourite guardian family? I mean, I feel like it has to be the Lynns. Like, it has to be, doesn't it? Like, Yanlin is the best grandma ever. And, like, I love all the families, but, like, it has to be the Lins. They run a restaurant. They let a 15-year-old boy they'd never met live in their basement, which I'm still not sure about, like, what the logic was behind that, but they must be cool people if they let a 15-year-old boy they never met live in their basement. Yeah, the Lins seem like cool people. They're really overprotective in the show, but, like, they're just, I don't know, they're just super sweet. And like I say, Yanlin is like the best grandma, and Haylin is such a sweet granddaughter, and they've got such a nice relationship. And yeah, it has to be the Lins. I love all the families. I think they've all got like their highs and lows. I would say probably my least favourite is unfortunately probably Cornelia's parents, but that's probably just because we don't really see very much of them. And whenever we do, they just seem, like, stuffy. I really wish we'd saw more of the Hales, because I feel like we don't learn very much about them, and they're just sort of like, we're rich and stuck up. And that's, like, their whole characterization, which is kind of depressing. I love Arma's parents in the show. I love Arma's parents in the comics as well. Arma's parents are awesome. I'd say they're my second favourite after the Lins, because they're just so fun. I mean, the fact that in Happy Birthday Will, when they come back to the party and Irma's mum is leading a conga line through the garden, like, what a fantastic set of parents she has. I mean, I know her dad's a cop, and that's not, you know, the greatest thing to be these days, but they seem like good people. So the Lins followed by the Lairs is the answer to that question. Number 4, favourite guardian ally. I mean, does Caleb count for that? Like, he's an ally, isn't he? Because he's not a guardian. Because Caleb's my favourite character in the show. Caleb is my boy forever. Caleb is the person that I dreamed of marrying when I was 10. Like, I'm obsessed with that boy forever. So he would have to be my favourite guardian ally. Like, I feel like that's a boring answer to that question, but, like, it's Caleb. He is my heart and soul. I love that boy so much. He's my favourite character. He's, like, one of my favourite characters that's ever been in anything. And I would die for him in a second, so it has to be Caleb. Why is Caleb my favourite character? These days, I've lost all track. Like, he's been my favourite character for so long, I've lost all sense of why. He's heroic, he's fun, he's silly, he, you know, has a great sense of humour, he's a really good friend, he would do anything for you. He loves Blanc, he loves the Guardians, he loves his dad. He would put his life on the line to save the world 1,000,000 times over. I love that boy. And I know he can be a bit sexist and at times, and when I make my big witch video that I've been writing for a very long time now, there is a whole section where I'm going to talk about that. So don't think that I've ignored it, because I haven't. But I love Caleb in spite of it. I just love him so much. Number 5, favourite Astral Drop. So I'm assuming from the comics here, because the Astral Drops in the TV show have no personality. If it was the Astral Drops in the TV show, I suppose it would have to be Cornelia's from the Mogriffs, just because she was a dumb, and she managed to reveal to Caleb, like, she managed to hand Caleb the bit of paper that says, real cute boy you like, but he doesn't know, so don't say anything. And then she's like, I like shopping. So, like, from the show, definitely Cornelia's Astral Drop from the Mogriffs. But obviously the Astral Drops in the comics have actual personalities. But to be quite honest, I can't really remember anything about them. I remember Cornelia's cut her hair, which was pretty cool, because we never saw Cornelia with short hair other than that. Will's Astral Drop for having the balls to kiss Matt, I suppose, is, like, the most iconic Astral Drop moment. And then when you see her and she's, like, in the abyss, and it's like, I hope she's resting peacefully without any bad memories, and it's, like, heartbreaking. So yeah, I suppose Will's Astral Drop for being a ballsy bitch, because, like, it took Will a really long time to man up and kiss Matt, so, and the Astral Drop just rocked up after, like, 5 minutes of being alive, and was like, I'm gonna kiss that boy, and you know what, girl, go get him. Number 6, favourite Guardian civilian outfit. Now, I love the fashion in Witch. I mean, apart from that terrible outfit that Will is wearing in V is for Victory. I want to make a video on witch fashion, actually. I keep saying I'm going to do that. But I'm trying to think, like, that's such a big question. Like, there's so many outfits. I'm trying to think. I can tell you, like, the ones that's absolutely not, like Cornelia's bright pink jumper and skirt combo from season 1 that I just hate so much. Like, that bit in F is for Facades where she's like, pink is so last season. I'm like, girl, you're fucking right, pink is so last season. Never wear that again. Let me think. One that I've always really liked is, yeah, actually this is, yeah, it's probably that. The outfit that Cornelia's wearing in O is for Obedience. It's like a kind of blue top with like, it's got like a kind of bit that comes across here. I think it's got like buckles or something, and then like a beige full-length skirt. And I think a belt. I'll put a picture on the screen. I've always really liked that outfit. I think she looks super pretty in it. I really like her. Like, I don't wear full-length skirts in real life, like, hardly ever. I had one and it got a hole in it, and it was like the only full-length skirt I ever had. But I love her fashion. It's like, I would never wear it, but like, I like what she wears. It's just not my style. I really like that one. I also really like Tarani's kind of yellowish dress that she wears in It Resumes. I've always liked that one. And I love Cornelia's black and white skating outfit. It's super cute. There are so many though, like, they have so many outfits. Like, I would be here all day. But yeah, I would say the one that comes to my head is Cornelia's O's for Obedience outfit. So that'll be my answer for that one. Number 7, favourite AnneLaurent outfit. Wow, I can't think that AnneLaurent even had that many outfits. Like, in my head, all I can see is her purple jumper and knee-high boots outfit from season 1. A really ugly outfit in D is for Dangerous. Like, I hate that outfit. She looks like a fucking sailor. Her queen dress. That's it. I can't think of anything else she ever wore. Well, she would have had a nightgown on in that one with the sleepover. Did she have a winter outfit in Divide and Conquer? I can't even remember. Now, right, so I would say, to answer this question, since I can't remember, and I can't remember anything she ever wore in the comics, like, I can't remember at all what she was wearing. Because, I mean, most of the time she was in Meridian. I know there was a few times we saw her on Earth, but I don't remember anything she was wearing in any of those scenes at all. So I would say her season 1 purple jumper thigh-high boot combo. Purple is, like, one of my least favourite colours. Like, purple and orange are my 2 least favourite colours. I'm just not into them. When porrange was, like, the fashion trend of the season, it was killing me. Everywhere I went, everything was porrange, and I was like, I want to die. So, like, normally I'm not really into purple, but I actually really like that outfit. I think it looks super cute. So yeah, I would go with her purple jumper knee-high boot combo. I'm trying to remember what colour her skirt is. I want to say brown, but I don't know if it is. It's weird how, like, you watch a show, like, every day of your life for, like, over a decade, and then someone asks you a question about what someone was wearing, and you're like, I have no idea. Number 8, favourite sub-arc. That's an interesting question. My brain is drawing such a blank here. It depends what you class as a sub-arc, I suppose. Because I was going to say, my brain first went to the, like, Raphael Scylla Interpol arc of Arc 3, but then I suppose that was sort of the main arc, because it was like a dual story. But that arc had 3 stories. It had the Arcanta story, the Interpol story, and then the Astrodops on the Run story. And I don't know, like, were they sub-arcs within the one arc, or were they the main arc that was just 3 of them? Regardless, I really like the Interpol story, so if that counts, I would say that. Or the mini arc from the end of Arc 2, the whole Cornelia tries to revive Caleb thing. Or was that the end of... When was that from? Yeah, the end of Art 2, wasn't it? No, it wasn't. It was the end of Art 1. When was that from? No, because that's how she released Nerissa, isn't it? Because, yeah. So, yeah, because Phobos turned him into a plant. Yeah. God, it's been so long. What's it even called? I was going to say, like, the actual name of the comic, and then my brain went to mush. Yeah, when Caleb turns into a flower, and then Cornelia tries to bring him back, and then turns into, like, the Quinto Guardian, and then Luba shows up and she's evil, and then because she's united all of her powers, it frees Nerissa. That was like for like 3 issues, I think. It was really good. What was that called? The Courage to Choose. I thought that was what it was called. I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm sure it's called The Courage to Choose. And then my brain was like, no, that's not right. It was right. Anyway, right. Enough of that. So, Interpol or the Caleb the Flower arc. Number 9, Fave Saga. Well, it has to be the 12 Portals. Like, I know it's cliche, but it's the 12 Portals. Very closely followed by Nerissa's Revenge. Like, Arc 1 and 2 are the best, but I feel like the 12 Portals, because it's like the truest witch, you know what I mean? Like, that is the OG, and it's what it was supposed to be. Like, that's what Elisabetta and Alessandro and Barbara were trying to create from the beginning, before, like, the exec stepped in and made them change everything. So, like, that is the true witch. But Nerissa's Revenge is definitely a very close second, because I think that arc has a lot going for it. I think Nerissa's such a great villain. And there's some really good stories in there. I think everything from that point on was not as good. Like, I hate Arc 3, because it's not only completely ableist, but also just a disjointed mess, because there's just too much happening and nothing really feels like it has any weight to it because of that. Like, there's too many stories running at once, so none of them are really that interesting. I really like Arc 4. I think the Trial of the Oracle was really good. I think it's a really, like, impactful piece, especially with, like, them coming up against Kandrakar and all that. Arc 5, I think, is a letdown. I don't think it really does a huge amount. I really like Ragerlang. I know a lot of people don't, but I really enjoyed Ragerlang. And then everything from 7 onwards is a disaster zone that sometimes I just weep internally. So, yeah, 1 and 2 are definitely the best. I think the 12 Portals wins just because it's, like, the definitive witch. And I've read it through so many times. Like, I've read the 12 Portals through over and over again, and I never get bored of it. I think Nerissa's Revenge is a very close second, though, because it's really well written. There's some fantastic stories in there. Nerissa's such a great villain. They do a lot with it, with that plot and, like, the former Guardians and stuff. But the 12 Portals just takes it. Especially for, like, villain Elion. Like, Elion in those first few issues is so freaky. Like, she's really quite creepy, and I fucking love that for her. I'm glad that she got better, but she made a great villain for a while. Number 10, favourite villain HQ. I mean, it has to be Phobos' Palace, right? Like, it has to be. It's creepy. Like, I always felt sad. Like, I don't really... Like, it looks pretty, right? The Meridian Palace when Elion takes over. But I'm like, I would prefer the scary goth palace. Like, obviously I want it to not be evil, but I like the scary goth palace. I don't want it to be pretty with, like, marble porcelain walls. No, give me the goth palace. Give me the one that's got, like, rose thorns growing out the walls. I love it, and, like, really sharp corners. I loved his palace. I would have kept it like that. Plus, it had some kind of weird bathing hot springs in it. I don't know if that's still there when Elion took over. I don't know what she did to it, but I liked it. Also, for some reason, like, the entire garden had a really strong yellow hue, so that was something that I liked. I would have kept it. I would have made it not evil, but I would have kept the gothic architecture. What does Elion have against gothic architecture is what I'm asking here. Number 11, a Kandrakar Elder. I mean, we don't have a lot of options here. So I feel like, just to try and be different and not say the Oracle, I'm gonna go for Tibor. We don't talk about Tibor enough. I can't tell you anything about Tibor. I really couldn't, but Tibor. That's all I have. Number 12, a chicken guardian. Well, of course, if you're gonna ask me for a member of Chicken, I'm gonna say my gal Nerissa. I know Nerissa's evil, right? And normally, I've said this before, I normally don't root for the villain. Well, I don't root for Nerissa, but like normally, I'm not one of these people that really like attaches myself to villains. I know there's people who like adore villains and stuff, and that's fine, I get it. Like villains are usually meant to be like really charismatic and stuff, and then you are attached to them. I'm not normally like that. Normally I'm very much like, you're evil and you need to die. But Nerissa's always had a real place in my heart. And I think it's just because, especially in the show, I'm talking primarily show Nerissa here. Well, what I'm about to say is entirely show Nerissa. This idea that she was like, she does have a heart, she does have a soul, she's not just pure evil. You know, you get people like Phobos. Phobos has like no redeeming qualities. Like, he's hot, but he has no redeeming qualities. He's not a good person. We never see any evidence that he ever had any good in him at all, and he may have murdered his parents. Like, we don't get the sense that he has any good in him, and it's the same with Cedric and the show, at least. There's no sense that they have any good in their souls. They just seem to be evil through and through, whereas Nerissa isn't. Nerissa was someone, she grew up normal. She grew up as a normal girl on Earth. She had her best friends. She had, you know, she'd fallen in love with Cassidy. She was a normal human being. She fell in love with Julian. She had a son who she genuinely loved, although she doesn't really know how to show it. And I just think she's such a well-written character. Like, she isn't pure evil, and she does seem to be, as much as she's completely off her rocker, she does seem to think that she has the right idea. Like, she's trying to unite the worlds under her rule so that there will be order rather than chaos, and she's one of those people that doesn't seem to realise that uniting under her rule is going to make things worse, but I genuinely think she doesn't see it that way. I think she honestly thinks that she's doing the right thing and that the ends justify the means. And I really like that about her. I just think she's got a lot of layers, and I've always loved that. She's such a well-written character, and I adore her. Also, like, my bisexual queen. And I know people say, like, it's not good when your only gay representation is the villain. And I completely agree, especially with, like, the history of, like, flamboyant gay villains. But because Nerissa isn't just pure evil, because Nerissa is, she has good in her, and because she is someone who's, like, was good at one point when she was younger, I let that one go, because I don't think, like, she was bisexual before she was evil, if that makes sense. Like, she was bisexual when she was good, so it's not like she's bisexual because she's the villain. She was always bisexual. But I love that. I love that for her. I love that we have this bisexual character. So, as much as it's never explicitly stated, we all know it's true. And I stan my bisexual queen Nerissa. Number 13, a Meridianite inhabitant. So, I think for that, I'm going to go for 2 here, because I like to break the rules. Obviously, I am the biggest Blunk stan you will ever find. Like, I love Blunk so much. He is my little pasling boy. I defend him to the death. I don't care that he's hated by the majority of the fandom. I never knew that for so long. When I found out that the fans didn't like Blunk, I was baffled, because, like, I assumed everyone loved him as much as I did. But that wasn't true. But I love Blunk. Blunk is one of my favourite characters in the whole show. I think he's adorable. He's sweet, and he's heroic, and he loves his friends, and even though they treat him really badly sometimes, he always comes in to help them. And when they think he stole the heart and he's so upset, he's like, how could you think that I would do that? And I'm like, oh my god, he's so perfect. I love him so much. I want to adopt him. So Blunk. But in terms of another Meridianite inhabitant, I just wanted to throw out Aldarn, because Aldarn deserves all the love. Aldarn is pretty popular in the fandom, especially for a TV show exclusive character. I love Aldarn. My OC that I wrote for my own season 3 and onwards continuation ends up in a relationship with Aldarn, because I believe Aldarn deserves happiness. And I just think they, even though she's my OC, I'm like, they make such a good couple. Like, I love them together. Give Aldar a romance, damn it. Number 14, a Basiliadian inhabitant. I don't know how people pronounce that. I've always pronounced it Basiliad, but I think it's probably Basiliade. But I really don't know. I've always pronounced it Basiliad. So Basiliadian? I have no idea. Anyway, I can't remember anyone from Basiliad except from Orub, so I guess I'm gonna have to say Orub. Like, the only other person I can remember is Himmerish, and I'm not gonna say Himmerish because I'm not the biggest fan of him, to be honest. I can't remember anyone else that came from that world, so I'm gonna say our favourite cat girl, Orub. I'm not the biggest Orub fan in the world. I like her well enough, but I know there's people who like are obsessed with Orub and think she's like the best character in the whole comic. And that's fair, I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just that I've never had such a big attachment to her. Like, I think probably just because I don't like Arc 3 much. So, like, the only arc that she ever really played a big part in was 4 and 5 that I actually paid attention to. And I don't like 5 much either. And I don't have any real connection to her relationship with Cedric. Like, I never really got on board with that ship at all. It just wasn't for me. And so, like, the main points of her story, like her taking the place of Tirani and her relationship with Cedric, those are like her big moments, her big plots, and I don't really care about either of them, which makes it not great. But as a character, I really like Orub. I like the fact that she is, like, quite feisty. She really throws a curveball, like, in the group when she arrives, and then when she tries to come to Earth and she tries to have a normal life and go to college and stuff, I really like that. I like it. I think she was a great addition. I just don't have the same, like, connection to her as a lot of people do. But yeah, I still think she's got a great design. Like, I love her outfit. She has a great design in her big cat eyes and her fringe. She's great. Number 15, a citizen of Heatherfield. God, that's a lot of people that I could say for that. Well, my brain immediately went to Martin Tubbs, so I guess that's what we're going with. Like, follow my gut. I really like Martin. I know that he's got, like, he's definitely a stalker with a crush. And that's not a good thing to, like, make in a positive light. But he's quite clearly not a dangerous stalker with a crush. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's showing up in, like, being dodgy. Like, he is just someone who has no sense of boundaries. I think he's probably just very socially awkward. Like, even though he's, like, quite forthcoming and, like, outgoing, I think it's more that, like, he just doesn't understand social rules, which is why he, like, doesn't realize that it's not okay to crash a girl's sleepover. Like, I don't think he did that because he's some creep. I think he just really doesn't get that that's not okay to crash a girl's sleepover. But I really love Martin. I think he's super sweet, and I don't think Irma should end up with him because I don't think that would be good for either of them. I think Martin needs to move on and find a girl more up his street. But I love him. I love his personality, especially in the show, because I think he has a lot of layers in the show in a way that he doesn't in the comics. Like, his focus in L is for loser and O is for obedience, I really like. I think he's a great character. I've always really liked him. I think he's an absolute sweetheart, you know, when he's like, you know, a delicate balance of annoyance and rejection. No room for pity in there. He's just, like, such a good guy, and he forgives Irma even though she called him a loser in front of the whole school. He's an absolute sweetheart. I love Martin. So, yeah, he'll be my citizen of Heatherfield pick. He's the first one that came into my head, so clearly I love Martin a lot. Number 16, a Sheffield teacher or staff member. Galgita Rudolph. I love Galgita. I think she's so cool. Like, the fact that she came to Earth and then decided that the best thing that she could do is teach maths. Like, alright then. I could think of better things to do with your life than teach maths, but alright, Galgia. But she's awesome. I mean, she brought Elion to Earth to protect her from her brother, and then just hung around for 13 years teaching maths to make sure that she could keep an eye on her. Like, that's dedication, and I, like, really admire that for her. Also the fact that, like, in the show, she says that she's going to tutor Elion maths and Meridian, even though Elion was, like, hoping that it would mean that she didn't have to do homework anymore, and then Galito was like, no bitch, you're doing homework. We're gonna have school every day. I love her. She's really nice. Also in the comics, she's like, she invites him around to the house and then Irma eats all her biscuits. She's cool, is what I'm trying to say. I just like Galgita Rudolph. I don't know. Oh yeah, and remember she, like, pretends, like, isn't it, like, Orb changes her name to, like, Rebecca Rudolph and pretends she's, like, Miss Rudolph's niece or something in the comics. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Oh, I like her. Yeah. I don't have much else to say because Galgia doesn't have a huge role, but I just think she's cool. Number 17, a magical creature. I mean, my mind's going to Wii, but I don't really like Wii that much. I don't really get the point in Wii. Napoleon. Does he count as a magical creature? Like, he's a he was just a regular cat, but then he got, like, enchanted and now he can talk. And he's a familiar, so he is magical. Yeah, okay. I'll go with Napoleon. I love Napoleon. I mean, first of all, he's Ed Asner. Second of all, he's hilarious. Like, the fact that he opens up his mouth, this, like, little cute black cat, and then he opens his mouth and he's got Ed Asner's, like, gravelly, gruff old man tones, is just so funny to me. Like, you would never expect that voice to come out of that cat. He's like, hey, toots! And, you know, he jumps on Cornelia and accidentally makes her paint her hair pink with nail polish. Yeah, Napoleon's a great character. Like, I mean, it's just a thing that talking cats in TV shows tend to be awesome. Like, if your favourite character in Sabrina isn't Salem, I don't know what you're doing. Amin Jacko from Ghost Stories. Again, if your favourite character in Ghost Stories isn't Amin Jacko, then what are you doing? She's a ghost and a bitch. Yeah, as soon as you got a black cat that talks in a TV show, you know you're in for a good time. Number 18, a magical object. I mean, there's a few of those. I'm trying to think. We've got a lot. I mean, you could go with, like, the map of the portals, Phobos's magic book, the heart of Kandrakar, the heart of Meridian, the heart of, well, I was going to say the heart of Earth, but that's not an object, that's a human being. Lillian is an object. The time turner thing, I can't ever remember what that's called. I always call it the time turner, but that's from Harry Potter. What is it called? The thing that Cornelia gets that stops time. What is that even called? I don't have a clue. Or the Book of the Elements, or the magic fucking tambourine or something from New Power, Kill Me. What am I gonna go with? I think, for this, I'm gonna go with Phobos's magic book, because it's so funny that they spend, like, so much time trying to open it. Like, the fact that Caleb and Blung push Irma's, like, dishwasher off the roof, hoping that when it lands in the book it'll open it, and all they do is break her dishwasher and her roof. Like, I don't know, how did she explain that to her parents when they came home and her dishwasher was in bits in the garden and half the slate was missing from her roof? And then they do get it open and then it's blank, because it turns out it actually has got, like, a hologram that talks from it. But, yeah, I'm gonna go with the book. The Book of Secrets, that's what it's called. Jesus Christ, my brain has gone completely blank today. The Book of Secrets. I'm gonna go with the Book of Secrets, just because, like, they have so many problems with that book when they've got, like, them trying to figure out how the hell you open it. And Helen gets her, like, Kirby grip out and then realises there's no lock. Yeah. The Book of Secrets is cool. It's a shame we don't see it more. I made the Book of Secrets out of, like, a cereal box years ago. I don't actually know where it is right now. I don't know. It used to be on my bookshelf, but I'm sure when I changed bookshelves I moved it. I don't know where it is anymore. Number 19, a villain minion. I mean, is Cedric a minion? Oh, wait. Miranda. Miranda's a minion. You would call her a minion, right? I mean, Raythor is a minion, and I love Raythor, but he, like, turns good in the end, so he's not, like, a villain minion anymore. But Miranda, I mean, come on. Everyone's favorite spider girl. It has to be. She's so creepy. Like, Grey Delisle has such a good way of making Miranda just creepy as all hell, and then obviously Susan Silo comes in and does the even creepier spider voice. But the way that Miranda manipulates people is so good. Like, she's so good at manipulating people. Like, she manipulates Elion, she manipulates, like, alchemy and stuff. Like, she manipulates Interpol. She's not even from Earth, and she's so good at manipulating everybody. She's so clever. I love her. She's a great villain. And you know, as much as I think the whole Cedric Miranda thing at the end of season 2 was bizarre and, you know, a bit, considering they never really elaborated on what age Miranda is, it comes across as just a little bit unfortunate implications. But I love the fact that, like, all along she was, like, scheming in the background, and then she was so close to, like, beating everyone, you know what I mean? Like, I would love if at the end of the day, like, it turned out Miranda was, like, the true villain of the whole series, because she clearly has far more brains than pretty much anyone else in that show. Like, that girl is so clever that I can completely see her turning around and just obliterating the entire villain cast and taking over the universe. And, you know, I don't even think I would be sad about that. I'd be like, you know what, girl, you deserve it. You worked hard for this. Take your place as leader of the evil world. Number 20, a supporting character. It depends what you class as a supporting character, I suppose, because, like, my brain went to Matt first, but, like, I don't know, because, like, I put Matt as a main character, but, like, he's not a main character. Like, he's not in, like, the Guardians are in every single episode. Caleb's in all but 5, and Blunk's in all but 6. So I would consider them, like, the main cast. Also, they're the 7 that appear in the season 1 title sequence. So, okay, yeah, let's go with Matt as a supporting character, because I love Matt. If you missed it, I made some little memes just the other day, where Matt is dubbed over with the Skyrim bard, who's also played by, oh my god, what's his name? Jason Marsden. Wow, I forgot his name, for God's sake. Jason Marsden, who does the Skyrim bard, so I dubbed over the bit of Matt singing Will to Love with, like, Ragnar the Red from Skyrim. But yeah, I love Matt. I think he's so funny. He's a great friend. I love his whole story with Will. I love his whole story when he's trying to beat Shagon. I love the fact that he wrote the Will to Love, because it's so pretty. It's such a good song. Like, I don't know. Matt is one of my favourite characters in the whole show. Absolutely. In the comic book, I don't really care about Matt. In the comic book, my favourite supporting character is Elion. 100% it's Elion. She's my favourite character that isn't a Guardian. But in the show, it's definitely, like, I love Matt. I think he's a fantastic character. I think he's got some of, like, the greatest lines in the whole series. Like, some of the stuff he's come out with throughout the series is just hysterical, especially in season 2. Like, I think he definitely grows a lot in season 2 from, like, not just being, like, Will's boyfriend who's in a band to being, like, you know, a proper one of the team, and he wants, the fact that he, like, steps up and wants to learn how to be a hero. Like, he doesn't have to. He could just, like, stay on the sidelines and cheer them on. But he wants to fight. He wants to help. He goes to Meridian during the final battle, even though he's got absolutely no clue what he's doing and no way to protect himself, and just rocks up to Phobos's palace and is like, hey, I'm here to help. Like, what the fuck are you doing? What a guy. Absolutely, like, all the awards to Matt Olson. Best boyfriend and best friend you could ever find. I also love his relationship with Cornelia, like, their friendship. They just seem to have a very strange friendship. And then, of course, when he ends up, like, Lillian's, regent, like, that cements the fact that they now have to spend time together. But I don't know, there's just some, like, I feel like Matt and Cornelia have, like, one of those weird friendships where they, like, annoy the life out of each other, but they really like each other. I imagine they have, like, this whole backstory going back to when they were kids, where, like, he sat next to her in kindergarten and, like, tried to, like, I don't know, put finger paint on her face, and they've been friends ever since. Like, she turned around and like threw a crayon at his head or something, and they've been best pals ever since. That's what I imagine in my head as their story. There was a guy I went to school with that I sat next to when we were like 7 or 8, who like was really like, he wasn't a bad boy, he was just one of these boys that like played up in class, like acted up and did silly things. And even though like I was like the perfect child who refused to put a foot out of line because I was so afraid of getting in trouble, like we got on really well because he made me laugh. So like even though it seemed like we didn't make a good pair at all, like I actually loved sitting next to him because it was so funny. And that's kind of what I imagine. I imagine them, Cornelia and Matt, having the same kind of friendship that me and this guy from class had. Number 21, you as a witch character. Well, I mean, I'll put a photo on screen of the time I cosplayed Cornelia. Does that count? That is me as a witch character. I've actually cosplayed her more than once. But I also made myself in the Witch Guardian Maker, the Flash game thing, so I will put that on screen as well. If I were going to be a guardian of the, well, actually, if I were a witch character, if I could be someone in Witch, I would want to be a rebel. I want to live in Meridian. Meridian is my favourite planet. I love it. I don't even care that it's so ravaged by evil and stuff. Like, I love Meridian and I want to be a rebel. I want to fight with a sword. Like, I want to live in the Infinite City. I don't really want to be a guardian. Being a guardian would be cool and all. And, you know, if I was a guardian, I would want to be the Earth Guardian, obviously. I've got the hair for it. The Earth Guardian always has long hair. Like, I'm making great Cadma, you know what I mean? Like, I've got the right Cadma ponytail. But if I could be a witch character, if I was to live in the witch universe, I would want to be a rebel. That's probably why my OC that I wrote for my season 3 is a rebel girl, because like I want to live vicariously through her. Yeah, I want to be a rebel. I want to fight with swords. I want to live in the Infinite City because it's pretty and green, and I want to live in Meridian and be part of Meridian society. And that is the dream. If I could wake up one day and live in Meridian, even though it's full of like Larvex and mudslugs, I would be so happy. I probably would miss the internet though. If they can get the internet in Meridian, that would be really good. Number 22, your dream reboot. Oh. I mean, obviously, if I could have anything, I would just have season 3. All I want is season 3. Like, I don't really want a reboot. I don't want a remake. I don't really want a new version. I just want season 3. I want to know what was going to happen next. I want to know what they were going to do with Raphael Sella, because he was played by Crispin Freeman and that would have been so good. I want to see what would have happened to Cornelia and Caleb, because I didn't stand them for so long and follow their relationship just to have it taken away from me. I want to see Blanc again, because if they bring it back, that's the thing, right? This is the thing, okay? Like, let me just talk for a second about this, okay? The problem is, if they bring it back in some form, they're going to bring it back inspired by the comic. They're not going to bring it back based off the TV show. And that's fine, and I get it. And the fact that we haven't actually had a proper comic adaptation because the TV show was so different, I understand there's a huge part of the fandom that want a comic adaptation that's more true to the comic, and I completely understand, and you also deserve that. You deserve to have that thing given to you. But for me, I would just be so sad, because it's like, if you bring it back and you base it on the comic, I'm not going to get Blanc ever again. Like, I'm never going to see that child ever again. I'm not going to get my Caleb, because Caleb in the comics is a completely different character who I don't like. Caleb in the TV show is the love of my life. I'm never going to get him. I'm never going to get the Cornelia and Caleb relationship that I loved, because I don't want the Cornelia and Caleb relationship from the comics. I want the Cornelia and Caleb relationship from the TV show. Like, Matt is different in the TV show, Elion is different in the TV show, Nerissa is different in the TV show, and it's like, that's the version that I love. And if you bring it back, you're never going to use, I know they would never bring it back unless they made a follow-up season, like season 3, or some kind of continuation, Young Justice style. I know that if they brought it back, they made a reboot, they made something, a remake, a live action, whatever, they would base it on the comics, and I would lose all of the aspects of Witch that are so meaningful to me, and I don't want that. And I'm not saying they shouldn't make it, and I still hope they do. I would love for there to be something, a new adaptation. I would love there to be something new that just in general would spark new interest in the series. And I would love for all the fans who have been desperate for like a more faithful comic adaptation to get that, because they they deserve that as much as I deserve my season 3, you know what I mean? Like, we deserve to get the things that we want in life and to be happy and to get to see the witch that we love. But for me, it's like there is no reboot that I would want. I just want season 3, because I don't want those things taken from me. And I feel like it's that thing where I'm like, I would be sad, because I'd be like, you could be spending that money on making season 3 rather than spending it on making something else that's new. That said, the other one thing that I would love is a like The Witcher style witch video game, like an open world RPG witch video game where you can go to like Heatherfield, Meridian, Zambala, Kandrakar, Basiliad, why not? Like, just throw in all the worlds, make it some kind of AU. Like, I would love that. You can like level up your guardians, you can like recruit like Caleb into your party, I don't know, like Dragon Age style. I would love that. If that's on the cards, if that's an option that I can put for this question, open world witch RPG video game where I can like blast Cedric in the face with my powers and it not be that GBA disaster. That I would love that. That is a reboot that I would happily take in a heartbeat. And I don't care in that sense whether it's based on the TV show or the comic or a mixture of both. I would love it to be a mixture of both and just make it like a third canon. So like, give me my Caleb from the TV show, but like don't need to be too strict on the whole like lore. But I would play it regardless of what it was based on, like, because that would just be so fun. Number 23, your dream fan cast. This is one I've struggled with for many years, and it probably doesn't help that like the fan cast I would have had when it was like 2006 are obviously now way too old because it's been over a decade. So I've always thought Dove Cameron would make a great Cornelia. Dove Cameron has the range for that. She does. She has the range. She would make a great Cornelia. She's got blonde hair. I think she'd make a perfect Cornelia. As in terms of everyone else, I have no idea. For a long time I would have said Catherine Prescott to play Will, but she's just been in that terrible accident. Did you see about that? She's like really, really badly injured. That's so horrible. Poor girl. I don't know if she's about too old to play Will now though. Although Dawson casting, you can cast whoever you want, can't you? But everyone else, I honestly don't know. I really don't. The girl that played Minerva in Riverdale, could she be Haylin? I don't know, maybe. But yeah, I don't really have much of a fan cast. I really struggle to pick people for playing Witch. I don't know. I don't really have any great thoughts other than Dove Cameron would make a good Cornelia. Number 24, your dream merch. I mean, literally anything. Like, I own so much witch merch. Like, I've got a fucking witch clock up there. Like, a clock. I've got the witch, thing that came with, like, the perfume and the body lotion and stuff. I've got a witch photo album. I've got a witch purse. I've got 3 witch jigsaws. Like, I've already got a lot of witch merch. I suppose the one thing I would really like is if they made, like, t-shirts, like, with, like, designs on them, because I feel like that's something we don't really have. And even when we did have them, they were for, like, children. Like, I just want a t-shirt that's got, like, the witch logo or, like, the Guardians on it or something, just so I can wear it, you know what I mean? Like, that's the one thing you expect when it comes to merch, is at least a t-shirt, but we don't really have any of that. I'm sure you can get them on, like, Redbubble or whatever, but in terms of, like, official merch, I don't think we ever got, like, t-shirts. So, yeah. I remember when I was a child, I saw witch boots, and I think it was a Verba Day catalogue. So, that was a thing. But again, for children, for, like, little children. It's like, give me something to wear as a grown-ass woman who loves witch, God's sake. This is ageism. Okay. The next 2 questions are this or that questions. So, number 25, this or that, witch or chicken? I mean, obviously, witch. Come on. Like, chicken are great, but witch are infinitely better. For a start, Chicken couldn't even stay friends, you know what I mean? Like, they all scattered across the world. One of them killed the other. So, yeah, not maybe the best teamwork in the world, whereas Witch are, like, actually, like, a great, solid team. So, it has to be Witch. Like, yeah. And they beat Chicken. Now, in fairness, half a chicken were under mind control. Well, 4 out of 5 chickens were under mind control by Narissa. But regardless, I still think Witch were far better than Chicken. Like, they would have beat their asses anyway. Number 26. OG or New Power Guardians? Really? Really? Anne? Really? It has to be the OG. I hate New Power so much. I hate everything about it. I hate the stupid tambourine. I hate the stupid plot. I hate everything to do with Matt in that saga. Oh god, I didn't even mention that earlier when I was talking about Matt. Oh no. Oh no. Fucking Matt. I hate New Power so much. I don't even like their outfits that much. I mean, Lynn's is absolutely stunning, but apart from that, like, everyone else has an ugly outfit. Lynn's is the only one that looks nice. Their powers are stupid. Their stupid pink objects are stupid. The whole fucking plot is stupid. No, I don't want New Power. I only want the OG Guardians. Thank you. Bye. Number 27. Canon Elyon or Villain Elyon? That's a difficult one. I said earlier, I really liked Villain Elyon. I really did. Like, the Elyon from the first chunk of the 12 Portals, I thought she was great. I think she's a dimwit for listening to some creepo man who was way too old to be at that Halloween party, who just showed up. I don't even know what the fuck he told her. And then she somehow decided that, yeah, okay, I'll listen to this creepy man I've just met at this party and lure my friends to burn down in the school gym. Okay, Elyon, whatever. But I think she made a great villain. She definitely was really scary. She seemed to be incredibly ruthless. She didn't seem to give a flying fuck about her friends. She made a great villain. But at the end of the day, I'm glad that she was not always a villain, because like I said, Elyon in the comics is my favourite supporting character. And I just really like her. I think she's got a great personality. I think she's really nice. She's funny as well. Like, I just really like her. I really like Elyon. So for me, I'm glad that Canon Elyon became good again, rather than just staying a villain forever. In terms of the show, she was never really a villain, which is why I never really said anything there. I like Elyon in the show, but I prefer her in the comics, although I'm glad that in the show she makes, like, more sense, because she doesn't, you know, lure her friends to a gym and try and burn them down in it because she talked to an old man at a party. Like, she's definitely better written in terms of, like, or at least we get a better sense of why she went to Meridian and turned on her friends. And even then, she's not evil. She never was evil. She was just very confused. Number 28, comics or cartoon? That's not a difficult question. For me, it has to be the cartoon. I love the comics. I've read the whole series, and I mean, they were a bit of a disaster from arc 7 onwards, but I do love the comics, and the comics were what got me into the series originally. It was the very first issue that I got free with a Girl Talk magazine that got me into the series. So it was the comics that brought me into this world, but it was the cartoon that made me, like, obsessed with it, and the cartoon is always the version I'm going to prefer. And I'm going to make a video, I'm working on it now, about the cartoon and about how it adapted it, and about kind of why I think it's such a great piece, like, just why I think it's such a great show. So I'll explain far more in there about my reasoning, but for me, it's always going to be the cartoon, and that makes me a bit of a pariah in the fandom because I like the adaptation more than the source material, and it does mean that if there are future reboots, I'm always going to be disappointed because they're never going to give me the version that I want, and that's sad. But you can't choose who you love at the end of the day. Number 29, a show of gratitude for a fellow fan. Well, I'll say thank you to AnneLaurent for creating this Witchversary and all other Witchversaries. Go and follow Anne. I love Anna's given us so much great like world building lore that they've come up with, and I could listen to Anne talk like all day about like their thoughts on just everything in the series, and I love it. But shout out to like all of my witch friends. I have many witch friends I've met online. All of the people in the witch Discord, JR, Nico, Dragonpunk, Neptune Violin, Rosary, Nostalgia Works, everyone over in the Witch Discord, y'all are the best. And people on Tumblr like Snake and Princess and Gadians of Kandakar, like just so many. Like the fandom is filled with great people. The people that I used to know way back on fanfiction.net, like oh my goodness, what was their name? The one who wrote the stories that had Angelo Vanders in them. You'll know the one. Cool Came, that wrote my favourite witch fanfictions ever. Years and years ago, Heart of Earth on YouTube, that was like the original person who uploaded the Witch episodes so that we could watch them. The Witch Master, who's uploaded the like 4K remasters. This fandom is filled with incredible people, and y'all are the best. So shout out to everyone in this fandom. You're a great fandom to be part of. And finally, number 30, a show of gratitude for Witch itself. So I could do this, or I could just link you to the video I made a few months ago where I did a love letter to Witch on its 20th anniversary, which would probably sum it up better than I ever could here, because I ranted on for ages about how much I love this series. So go and watch that. I'll link it somewhere, up, down, on the screen, in the box, somewhere. And you can go and watch that and you'll hear all about my gratitude for Witch. And that's it! Finally, I got to do it! Finally, I did the Witchversary 2020. Woohoo! Thank you all for being here. Thank you for joining us while we talk about more Witch. And I'll be back sometime soon with another Witch related video. No idea what it'll be yet, but we'll find out together when it gets uploaded. But until then, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye everyone!